Good afternoon and welcome back for the last time to the new Tana Curling Club here in Saskatoon. We are about to witness the final gold medal game of the championship between Nova Scotia, skipped by Cassie Blades, and AB2 from Alberta 2. I'm Brian Chick here with Dustin McCush, and we are just about ready for this gold medal matchup. Dustin, what can we expect?
Yeah, I think we can expect some fantastic shooting from both teams. They both had terrific weeks going undefeated until this final game here now. So we definitely have a great matchup here in store here this afternoon.
Both teams, like you said, 6-0 through the round robin into the playoffs. Nova Scotia defeated Ontario earlier today, and Alberta knocked off BC to reach the final. Both with perfect records, both without a loss, so a draw to the button was required to figure out who has hammer. And Nova Scotia was victorious in that feat, so they will have hammer in the first. And Alberta will start off with Savannah Dutka throwing lead rocks.
Yes, Team Alberta, a five-person team here. They've been switching in and out of a few of the positions down the lineup throughout the week, and in chatting with Coach Glenn Kennedy this week, that is due to athletes on this team and playing multiple sports. So a five-person team here from Alberta.
Alberta opens with that shot into the forefoot. Nova Scotia wasting no time putting the broom down for the takeout. Pretty typical opening moves. We've seen a lot of open play in the early ends.
Yeah, similar start in our male semifinal this afternoon where they ran it up and down the first end and headed for the blank. And I think this is the play early. This is a big game for both teams and just looking to settle in here early on.
The hit is made, and now it'll be Alberta's turn, and we'll probably see a few more of these back and forth. Our men's gold medal match is happening on Sheet C. If you'd rather watch that, you can tune into a different stream on our YouTube channel. That is between Ontario and Nova Scotia. Big day for the Atherton family. Stephanie playing in the gold medal game on the women's side for Nova Scotia, and our brother Zach is skipping the Nova Scotia men's in their gold medal final. So Andrew, coach and dad Andrew will be pacing back and forth between Sheet A and C all day.
Yes, Coach Kevin Ouellette with Team Nova Scotia here. Kevin is the high performance director for Nova Scotia Curling, coaching this team here this week in Saskatoon.
Yeah, I should say Andrew's not actually coaching either team. He has coached several Nova Scotia teams in the past, but this week he's just on dad duty, so he is not bound to sit behind one sheet. Hits and rolls wide. Doesn't appear to be biting, but it's pretty close. Cassie Blades doesn't want to risk it, calls for the hit anyway. Anna McNutt throwing the inside out with nice control weight.
Yes, sister Allie McNutt will be skipping Team Canada at the World Juniors this year in Italy in April. Exciting year for their family.
15-5, 16's close.
Molly Whitbread just looking to put one in the rings. They called for a 16-second draw. Draw comes up a little bit short, so now we'll see Nova Scotia try to make a move going around it.
Time's good. Yep. Top 8. Like 3, 2. It's like, whoa.
Maybe caught a bit of a fresh path there. So opportunity now for Team Alberta to loop one around, potentially create a force scenario.
All there. We're all there. Always Sabs. Always
So
Sabs.
third rock thrower, Julia Kennedy.
Sabs rock. Take a look. Sabs rock.
Team Alberta curls out of both the Beaumont and Red Deer curling clubs.
Sabs. Okay, here, Baird's okay. Sabs. Yep. All the way. Yep. Keep going. Good see.
The aforementioned Stephanie Atherton looking to follow this one down, make a little freeze.
Melt down. You're tight too. Yeah, hard leg. Line's good. Yep. Hard.
Sweepers pick this up right away and just a bit light again.
18. Top 8, top 4. Just 4 feet less. Lots of room. Top 4. Lots of room. Oh, just top 8. Line's good.
So a great opportunity here for Team Alberta to put one in a good spot and apply a lot of pressure to Team Nova Scotia early in this game.
Line's good. Hey, Sabs. Yep, hard, Sabs, hard. Okay, whoa, then, whoa. Really good.
We thought this end was going to be wide open, but all of a sudden we got some rocks in play.
That's a great draw there from Team Alberta.
Yep.
See the double peel attempt. A very nice shot there.
This was just center, right? This was to center. Why don't we do the same path I just threw? We can. I was just thinking that if you're outside, you guard that. But sure. Like here then? Sure. Okay, just a 3? Yeah. Okay, you got it. Thank you. Just 3. A bit less. Thank you. Sorry, can I still have lets? No, this way. Yeah. Okay. Like, is it normal how it has this?
So first skip rock for Alberta skip Abby.
Lines
Does her
close,
move?
real tight. 3. Volley. Volley. Over and off. Off. Whoa. Okay, curl. Whoa. Curl, guys. Whoa. Good.
Maybe a little bit heavier than Alberta would have liked, but good line.
Okay. You got it, Ross. In turn. Yeah.
So opportunity for Team Nova Scotia to get rid of some yellow ones, create some scoring room for the last rock. Skip Cassidy Blades. Very nice double there from Team Nova Scotia. Great shot.
Okay, good 10, you got it. Thank you. Yeah. Like 3/4. Thank you. Got it. Can I try the hairless? Whoa! 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 Curl! Whoa! Curl! Yeah, curl, 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 curl. Hard. Okay.
Sweepers indicate that one was a bit heavy, so now rolled out, and here we are with another blank opportunity for Team Nova Scotia. It's looking all in that it might be a force, but Team Nova Scotia will have the opportunity to blank this first.
Started looking that way, and then it didn't, and then it did again. So just like they drew it up, but maybe not the way they intended to get there.
Yup, yup. Yes, hard. Hard. Yup, yup, yup. Hard, hard. Keep going right up. Hard, hard, hard. Hard, hard, hard. Okay. Nice.
And that will be a blank to start, so we will be back here shortly for the second end.
Everything I've worked for, everything I've sacrificed, has led to this. It's out of your hands now. All the gold medals in the world can't help you now. You can throw the perfect rock and still miss, but it just takes one. You leave it all out there on the ice to leave behind a legacy.
The Canadian Curling Trials. The thing we cried for, fought for, thrown 1,000 rocks for. The podium, just out of reach. But we can almost taste the gold medals in our teeth. Defiant, we take down giants with nothing but the stones in our hands. And in the stands, they wait and see who among us will earn the right to wear the maple leaf.
Yeah, we're in. Okay, whoa, whoa.
A
Just your
blank end out of the gates, like we said before. It started to look like it, and they got some rocks in play, but a few misses opened up the door to bring that back into play. No points on the board. Nova Scotia still retains the hammer.
Nova Scotia wasting no time at all, electing to throw up the corner guard. Try and generate their 2 points. And an update from the gold medal male game, and I believe that was 3 big points for Team Nova Scotia to start the game over Ontario. So that's definitely the start that they were looking for there, but lots of game remaining there.
Good sweep. 17-3. Slipping is fine. The 3 is perfect.
And yes, can confirm that was indeed 3 for Team Nova Scotia. And as Brian mentioned, if you're looking to watch that game, all the action is streamed from the Nutana Curling Club, so you can check out Curling Canada's YouTube channel for links to all the games.
Might be to it. Still gotta curl a lot. Back 4. Okay, curl? Yep. Yep. Okay, what was the start of the rest? Okay. Good job. Just gotta. Like, you got it. Line's good.
So rocking the house at a corner guard up.
Anna.
Nova Scotia actually opting to use their corner guard, which we like to see.
Hard, Anna. Yep. Hard.
We noticed that yesterday in one of our the quarterfinal, I suppose it was, the Nova Scotia boys also really committed to using that corner guard. Well, so many teams like to throw that and then never use it. But both Nova Scotia teams that we've seen really not afraid to leave those rocks in the middle of the rings to try to generate those extra points.
Yes, and I think the important piece is the placement early on of the opposition's rocks. So Alberta being a little bit deep on both of their draws does set up that opportunity to put up the corner and use it and not be too concerned about the rocks in kind of that key middle area early.
Those yellows aren't particularly threatening at the back of the 4-foot or back of the 8-foot, so you do have the opportunity to try to set your end up. This will change things, though. Hit and roll to the top of the 4-foot.
Really good.
Very nice shot there from Molly.
And McNutt looking for a little hit and roll off the top 4 stone. Try to bring that corner guard back into play. Over curls maybe just a little bit. Doesn't end up in a terrible spot. It is somewhat protected by those 2 yellows in the back.
Yeah. Still keen. Ten up. Yes. Hard, Julia. Hey, whoa. Yes. Yeah.
And as I mentioned, those yellows in the back were helping that red stay put. And we see a little jam here, an opportunity for Nova Scotia to put a little pressure on if they can make the roll here. Stephanie Atherton really trying to hold this one on the curl, and again, comes up just to the nose. Nova Scotia does sit 2, however, both of them wide open, and a very makeable double is available. It's hard to believe we're at the end of this week already, considering how slow we were getting out of the gate.
Yes, Brian, we had quite the crazy event start here in Saskatoon with teams looking to get in on the Friday, the day before the pre-event practices, but believe it or not, some teams not getting in until Wednesday morning at about 1 a.m. So quite crazy to be arriving 5 days late to a national championship, but yeah, we've had an amazing crew here and a lot of work done to make sure that all teams were able to play all of their games, and some definitely late nights with travel agents and rebooking flights and a whole team of people behind the scenes making it possible for all the athletes to get here to Saskatoon. So incredible job by event manager Rob and Maddie and the entire team here and the ice crew to accommodate, and yeah, just everybody involved. So Yeah, terrific job, and just like to thank everybody for making that happen, and all the other teams that did make it to Saskatoon for being very understanding and accommodating of schedule changes and things that had to be done to make sure everybody had an incredible experience here in Saskatoon.
Julia Kennedy makes most of the double. Doesn't quite get it the second one to go, but does move it far enough that the yellow is second shot. Yeah, it is amazing just the fact that 5 teams were almost 4 days late showing up, and they still were able to compete, play every game on their schedule, complete the round robin, and get the full experience of the national championship. Curling Canada was really committed to not punishing these people for travel delays that were totally out of their control, so there were no forfeits or no punishment, or for example, of for showing up late when it had nothing to do with the efforts of the teams.
100%, Brian, and unfortunately, not able to control what Mother Nature and the weather has in store, or flight cancellations, and there was even planes flipped upside down in Toronto, and yeah, a bunch of crazy things. So we were able to actually switch the airline for 5 of the teams from Atlantic Canada, and they were able to make it out here, which was great to see. So yeah, definitely unfortunate circumstances, but everyone definitely did their best and able to have a successful event altogether.
A big miss there from Alberta. Slides right through, and now Stephanie Atherton is going to have a chance to just lob another one behind this corner.
Mine's good, Toppy!
She just made it, so you'd think this one's got to be close.
Just here.
And I would say that's pretty good. Well placed, and now those Reds are sunk.
Yes, a lot of pressure now on Team Alberta.
So Abby Desarmeaux looking to play the long run back double. May not be the highest percentage shot, but there's not a whole lot of better options at this point.
Yes, not a ton of options for sure, and it's getting to be a little bit late in the end to play the run back, but at the same time there's not too many other options other than maybe looking at the freeze, which is a pretty precise shot. So yes, if can get rid of a couple of Reds would be great here.
Even if you don't make this one, you should open it up and maybe have a crack at a double on your next one, which is going to be the case.
10-5, solid 10-5.
Nova Scotia opting to hit the open one and potentially sit 4. And that will put the pressure on Alberta. So Cassie Blades with her first of the second, looking for a nose hit.
Line callers indicating this one's maybe a bit wide.
It is curling up though. Looks like mission accomplished.
Great shot there.
It was in fact a little bit wide, but nice quiet weight, maybe a little help with the directional sweeping, got it back up to the nose.
a nose.
And we have a coach's interaction here with Glenn
Yeah,
Kennedy.
The other option is it's thin that way, but you're probably going over the top anyways. So I don't mind the nose if you guys like it. That is tough. Well, it's tough for her to get it by these two then, right? Yep. Yep. So I think like you thinking like a board?
Oh, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, you got it. You can't roll in any direction. So I kind of like a board and get the sweepers in play, right?
Okay.
Yep.
And it's, yeah, I don't know if it's able to grow a lot. Have you seen any rocks in this one? Like here with board?
Some good insight there from Coach Glenn Kennedy.
Glenn with board?
The call is to hit the top red on the nose and basically sit right on top of the contact rock. You potentially will sit second, and red will sit third and fourth, but it will be difficult to remove that yellow if the shot is made.
What?
And
I get 11,
I think
I'll
your
throw. Okay.
worst case is that you might think that you can force them to a draw for two. And when you're looking out for a draw for two, seems pretty appealing.
Yes, if you make this absolutely perfect, it's going to be hard to score a bunch of multiples with those two where they are. Hard to peel it out. So a big shot here in the second end from Team Alberta.
Whoa, clean. Whoa, off, go to curve. Yes. Yes. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Yes.
That usually means you're pretty close, and I'd say that is an excellent result. Nova Scotia has the chance to either draw for two or maybe try to pick that. Even if you lose the red, you have a chance to sit three.
That's a stellar shot early in this game. Championship game with the national championship on the line, facing four. So very well done there from Team Alberta to hit that on the nose and force Team Nova Scotia to draw for two.
Just drawing for two. We're one. Right? What? We're one. Yeah. It's just the pick.
Yeah, that is a potential game saver. It might be a little bit of an exaggeration in the second end, but if that's not made well, there would be a shot for four. Two you can recover from. Four hurts a little bit more. So Cassidy Blades playing out of the Halifax Curling Club, looking for a piece of the forefoot for a second point. Sweepers seem to like it, not panicking too much.
Very nice draw weight there.
And right to the button. 2 inches heavy. Two on the board for Nova Scotia. They'll lead 2-0 after two. Deuces Wild. We'll be back after a short break.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
From cash spiels to Grand Slams, club competitions to world championships, there's a lot to keep up with on the pebbled ice. Stay up to date with the Hardline Curling Show, your weekly source for everything curling, with the latest event results, breaking news, interviews with players, executives, and insiders, plus behind-the-scenes access you won't get anywhere else. Follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube. Make sure you don't miss a thing.
Well, the way that end was headed, I think both teams are content with how it unfolded. You never want to give up two, but like I said, it's better than giving up four. So Alberta's got to be pleased that they got away with only giving up a deuce there. And of course, Nova Scotia pretty happy they got 2 on the board.
Yes, Brian. I think the thing with that, and if there was a key point instead of a key shot, we could say a key coach interaction. And I think kudos to Glenn Kennedy for a well-timed coach interaction and really discussing what weight to throw for that shot and walking them through that, and resulted in only 2 points versus potentially more than 2. So I think that was actually a very key point right there.
Yeah, and it's one thing to call it, but to execute exactly the call without rolling an inch either way, that was a great shot. And then Cassidy Blades makes no mistake with the draw to the button, and we have a 2-0 game.
Yeah, some great curling, and I like that weight choice from Team Alberta too, to use the sweepers, but also kudos to Team Nova Scotia for following it up with a nice draw as well.
So we've got a corner guard and a slightly off-center guard. And Alberta opting to use their corner. The line looks pretty good on this one if it has the legs to get there. And they will get a bite, which is probably good enough for now. Great sweep there from the Alberta duo. Anna McNutt trying to draw another one in behind those 2 reds. Whoa. 14-6 going all the way to the back line and through. That is some quick ice.
Yes, fast ice conditions. Lots of curl here, so have to definitely throw to use your sweeper some there. Just coming a little bit heavy.
Molly Whitbread also with a little bit of extra weight here. So looks like we'll be playing this end with 7 apiece. I like this call from Cassidy Blades. Throw another one in there. You've got the lead. You're already sitting shot. If you can make a good one here, really would throw Alberta off their offensive game plan. They'd be in a bit of trouble and have to work their way out of a bit of a hole.
Yes, it's kind of beneficial for Alberta to have those rocks off of the center line, but yet both draw passes to the button are a little bit trickier, so I do like this call to come around.
Didn't quite bury. You could probably see 2/3 of that. Or a little bit more, even 3/4.
And an update from the gold medal male game. Big steal of 2 for Nova Scotia, and they'll take a 5-0 lead into the 3rd end of play, and a tough start there for Team Ontario.
The impressive thing with these finals is that all 4 teams in the gold medal match went undefeated through the round robin, obviously undefeated through the playoffs. So all 4 of them with perfect records so far. Unfortunately, somebody's got to lose.
Yes, very impressive. A great field here in Saskatoon. So to go undefeated into the finals is very impressive.
This is now the 9th game for these teams. 6 round robin and quarter and semifinals. So Going 9-0 in a week like this would be pretty impressive.
Yep. Yes, hard. Yes, hard, Anna. Hard, Anna. Hard, Anna. Hard, Anna. Yep. Push hard. Any okay. 9-9. I think still this.
That rock getting higher and higher, creeping into the chances of a double being there.
I was just going to say one observation about the ice is that getting a roll has proven to be very difficult. Because it is curling so much, trying to hit just the exact right spot to flop across the rings hasn't come very easy. And I'm not talking about just this game, but I'm talking about all the games I've watched all week. I haven't seen a lot of great rolls made. This one's close, though. No, see, just need to curl up a little bit more.
Yeah, hit and roll is one of the harder shots in curling, and it's difficult if you don't hit the exact right spot and if you have a little bit too much weight, which I think has been a bit of a trend. And I think throwing that bit softer weight, depending on how much you need to roll, is helpful to make the shot, but definitely very precise to be able to make those shots perfect.
The draws on this surface seem to be very makeable. There's so much curl. The ice is nice and quick. It's good sweeping ice. So you see a lot of great draws being made, but and even those runbacks, because once you throw it harder, it runs so much straighter. But those little softer weight hit and rolls have just been difficult.
Yes, lots of curl, and some of the teams are throwing quite a bit of rotation to help combat that a little bit, and that one just coming up a little bit light for Nova Scotia, but here we'll hear Glenn Kennedy again with an on-ice coaching interaction.
And then open up this red one. You're still fully buried. So let's rip that double peel. Just let Julia know it's like half a rock, 2/3 to half a rock. And let's open up this red one. Okay?
I like that call. You're not in trouble yet, but one more miss and you could be. So Glenn suggesting open up the peel, get those reds out of there, and you should have a chance to get at that red in the house and maybe sit two later on. So Julia Kennedy looking for about half a rock, you heard. Won't be getting that, but close to the nose. Will it get straight back? She will, and that works.
Yes, one would say that'll play for sure.
Not exactly what they were trying to do, but they will certainly take it. So now Cassidy Blades is going to try to put this one back, but going to a wide line on the sheet that we haven't really seen yet today.
Yeah, we're going wider. Should come back more than yours.
Athletes recognizing they're going out wider, so
15-3.
chatting about the speed.
Well past the guard, a lot of room, but this has been walking right over. And it will be buried, but sliding to the back 8 foot, left some room to be chased.
Yeah, it's completely buried, a bit deep, but still does the job to take away the top 12 one.
That's an illustration of just how much curl there is on the ice. She was by the guard by almost 2 feet. And in the last 12 feet in, it curled more than 2 feet sideways and came out the other side.
Yes, a ton of movement. There we see a nice shot of all the fans. Packed house on typically would be sheet 1 at the Newtowna Curling Club, and a lot of the teams coming out to cheer their fellow provincial and territorial teammates that are out on the ice.
This is the first draw all week where we haven't had 7 games going. There's only 6 out there right now. But it has been a busy place around this club.
Yes, and we did have 3 games at the CN Curling Club here in Saskatoon, some of the ranking games. This rock coming in nicely. That's a great shot there from Skip.
Well placed. Couldn't do it much better than that. Maybe a rock higher if you want to be picky, but I think that's pretty well done.
It's like a little less ice and a little less weight. Okay, yeah, like 15-3, 15. Yeah. It's like just behind you, so we can get on top.
Cassie Blades with her last shot of the third. Trying to sneak another red in there to sit shot, or at worst, kind of choke off the opportunity for a second point for Alberta.
Sweepers are sweeping this for curl now, I think. Great speed, just a under curl a little bit, maybe a couple feet heavy. But opportunity for Alberta to loop in a second point here.
Yeah, you can definitely get in there. There's so much curl that getting to the inside of that red is definitely possible, but there's also this in-turn path where there's a good 3-foot port there, but anything better than half a rock in the 4-foot will get you a second point. I'm a little surprised they're not throwing the same out turn.
I'm a bit surprised also. However, you also need to be cognizant of that same turn, and if you're ever a couple feet heavy, tapping them in. So I think I do like the in-turn path, and they did have practice and they know this side as well, and it's a fairly big port. So
yeah, this is certainly the safer option as far as holding the point you already have, but the other one, having just seen it a few times, I think is also very makeable. So Abby Desarmeaux with her last rock in the third, looking for a second point, needs a good chunk of 4-foot. Line looks okay. It's now a matter of the weight. And it'll slide a little bit deep. That'll be 1 point on the board for Alberta. 2-1 for Nova Scotia after 3 ends. We'll be back after a short break.
I'm the last guy that looks at the draw. I don't care that much, in all honesty. I would say that I think someone posted the draw in our team group chat, and I don't think I looked at it for about a week after. Now, I did finally look at it because the guy started kind of talking about the pools and whatnot, so I thought, oh, I better go and look and see what's going on here. And so, yeah, I don't pay too much attention to that stuff. I'm kind of the type of guy that's like, what time? You know, what sheet? And definitely who are we playing? We want to talk about that pregame and whatnot. But what time, what sheet? Get me there, let's go. And I don't want to get there too early either, because I don't want to be in my curling stuff any longer than I have to be. I don't like hurry up and wait. Just get me to the ice, get that practice slide in, and away we go.
what shot do I need to make, and here we go.
You bet.
A missed opportunity there, a makeable shot for two, just slipped a little bit heavy, so it's only one on the board for Alberta. Nova Scotia has Hammer playing the fourth here. Alberta opens up with that center guard touching the center line, which means it cannot be removed from the center line when we're playing that no-tick rule.
Line's good. Knee line. Anna's.
For signaling, it might be a bit heavy, but I think, Brian, we find on lots of surfaces when there's no cleaning or sweepers are right off, the rock can come down quite heavily.
Yeah, we do see it a lot on this surface, again, because there's so much curl. Once it really starts to grind, the curl takes a lot of the speed off the stone, and when it's curling a few feet sideways, it takes a few feet off distance-wise.
Small tap there.
I would have liked that to curl up a little bit more, get closer to the nose. However, just being that little bit buried means that it's a slightly more difficult shot here to try to just bounce it back. This one a little bit wider with a lot more rotation. But if the weight's right, look at this walk right over.
It's a very nice shot from Nova Scotia.
Yeah, very well done. That's an example of that extra rotation, kind of keeping the rock moving a little bit further and also getting a little bit extra curl at the end as it just slows down. A lot more late curl when you have that extra spin. Not exactly where they wanted to put that, but they did get that little bounce off the yellow to improve their angles just a little bit.
So, Brian, we have a very important day today. Today is Curling Day in Canada, presented by PharmaSave. It's a day where curlers across the country come together to celebrate our amazing sport that we all love. And it's a day that's being filled with lots of events and activities taking place from coast to coast. You may have just been watching the TSN special broadcast taking place from the Toronto Granite Club as the club celebrated their 150th anniversary. Today is also the last day to vote in the story contest, so you can visit curlingdayincanada.ca for more information on that. So lots of stuff taking place and local events, so just like to wish everyone a happy Curling Day in Canada.
A lot of my friends from the Royal Canadian Curling Club in Toronto were at that Granite Club event. They built a nice outdoor rink on what is normally a outdoor fitness area. And yes, the show was highlighting events all across the country, and I know that was only a handful of dozens or probably hundreds that are going on in various clubs. We've got a pretty good one going on right here in Saskatoon. Lions great on this one. If they can get it there, just comes up a hair short. Cassidy Blades taking a second to figure out who's shot. My guess would be the red at the top, but it's hard to tell from where we are. You taking bets?
I'm gonna go red on this one. What about you?
I think it's red as well, but we did have an instance earlier in the week where I was absolutely sure it was one way and I was very wrong. So sometimes the cameras can be a little bit deceiving with that overhead. A little bit of weight here coming from Anna McNutt, trying to rattle these around and maybe remove all doubt about who might be shot. Well, it certainly did remove the doubt, although I don't know that it really improved their position very much. Before that shot was thrown, it was going to be very difficult to get any of those reds out. And now it seems that's a little more realistic of an option, but Alberta looks like they're just calling kind of a heavy bounce off that red at the 9 o'clock in the 4-foot. Maybe to try to get a little chip off and spin under.
Third, Julia Kennedy.
Has to curl up a little bit. Trying to carve it over. We'll get to the nose of that red and remove it. So shot stone is that red at the top of the button, but it is surrounded.
Yes, yellow rocks accumulating, so Nova Scotia recognizing. Need to get rid of a couple of them or maybe move them around a bit. And an update from the gold medal male game. Ontario forced to a single point, so Nova Scotia will hold a 5-1 lead with Hammer playing the fourth end.
Right there. Okay.
So a big weight coming from Stephanie Atherton here, trying to move some yellows. Nova Scotia got a little crossed up. 2 sweepers behind the tee line, but I think not a lot of difference was made by that, so it's all is forgiven. Another interaction coming from Glenn Kennedy.
That's there. It's thick. You're probably just going to kick him out of 4-foot. I don't mind it, because actually it'll line up really good with this. This saying 2 very different shots. I know, that's why I was saying come down. So freezing the back is one option. You could also tap him out of 4. If I just wanted you to look at this, that we can make that in off. It's just really flat. It's like 2/3 of a rock. You're probably just coming to the side or to the back of it.
Do you like it?
I don't mind it. I don't mind it. Like freezing this back one, if you move it out of 4-foot, it cuts off her, and then we could always save that for later. But you got to throw that one hard, right?
Yeah.
With the out turn.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll give you like here. I'll throw like 2 feet less. Yeah. Okay.
So it sounds like they've agreed on the freeze, which I think is to the one in the back 4-foot.
Yes, I like the freeze call, and I agree with Julia that in-off maybe you want to save for a bit later in the end. So
Yeah,
I like this freeze call.
you almost want to wait until you're forced to do it. You don't want to take it on as an option. It is really flat. I agree that it's there, but you have to throw it very hard and hit like you heard, probably 2/3 or more with the flatter turn. Abby calling the audible here, trying to get a little chip off their own stone. Yeah, they've missed it, but they will get a chunk of the back. Red move it a little bit. Just a little too much weight for the call. So Nova Scotia trying to play the hit and roll off this yellow. If you hit it a little too thin, you could go all the way across the forefoot and park it on the other yellow on the other side. Oh, and actually found the hole. Hard to get through there. So now Alberta still not in great shape, but not in bad shape. Look at this one, just slipped right between these two.
Posts, yeah.
I didn't think there was a hole there, but that rock found it. What do you like here?
I like the hit and roll here. I think that's the call, and play it to make it for sure. I think given the scoreboard, I like playing the hit. It's only the fourth end, and don't want to risk giving up a 2 or a 3, and I think this is the shot.
Yeah, your other option would be a freeze on either that top button rock or the one in the back 4, but I agree with you. I like getting rid of some red, and if you do it just right, you can get the roll in behind and potentially even sit shot.
Sweepers on this early.
Have to hit it thick, but this might be a little too thick. Actually going to get on the wrong side of nose just. And maybe a little funny release. Crossed up Julia Kennedy on the sweep call because it obviously needed to curl a little bit more. And they were on it right out of her hand.
Yeah, it did nose it, so still an opportunity to maybe come off it on your next one, but this is going to be, if this is made perfect, it'll put a lot of pressure on Team Alberta on the last rock.
They do plan to go towards that yellow in the back 8, and if they end up freezing it there, there's going to be a little bit of a wall, so will provide some opportunities for Alberta to get out of trouble and maybe only give up 1 or 2. The in-off that you were talking about off that left rock and the biting the 8-foot, still there. A little bit easier now that it's a rock higher, but still pretty difficult and precise. This one is not going to make it to the back of the 8-foot and barely, not even to the house, actually. That just plain light.
Because this is easier now, too. Okay. Is it like half a rock? What do we want to do? I think try commit to the double. I think so, yeah. Okay, then I think we do this. Okay, yeah. Or do we do the same turn? Yeah, let's do the same turn. I'll throw in, like, a 9, I think is good enough.
So talking about the turn here of which one to throw, they did just throw the out turn here. This is the turn that's going to get less action on the rock, so we'll need to hit it a little bit maybe thinner. But I do think this is the best option to steal a point, where the draw would be very difficult to get in there and sit shot stone.
Yeah, the out turn here, or the counterclockwise turn, is going to be get a flatter, deader roll. The in turn would spring off that just because of the way the rotation picks up, and this one again on the hair on the wide side, and it's not going to get to the right side of the stone. If that was the weight you needed, just needed to hit the same spot on the other side. So Nova Scotia already sitting 2 and a chance to draw for 3 and potentially with backing. So big opportunity here to gain some much needed points and really take control of this game. Last rock of the 4th coming from Cassie Blades. Looking for maybe just a bite of 4-foot.
Do you need backing? Do you need backing? Lily! Yeah, Lily? Full 4, yep!
Line is okay. Just got to put it on the tee line. And well judged, well swept right into the 4-foot. 3 points on the board for Nova Scotia. We've reached halftime. We're going to take about a 5-minute break. We'll be back after that.
Everything I've worked for, everything I've sacrificed, has led to this. It's out of your hands now. All the gold medals in the world can't help you now. You can throw the perfect rock and still miss, but it just takes one. You leave it all out there on the ice to leave behind a legacy.
From cash spiels to Grand Slams, club competitions to world championships, there's a lot to keep up with on the pebbled ice. Stay up to date with the Hardline Curling Show, your weekly source for everything curling, with the latest event results, breaking news, interviews with players, executives, and insiders, plus behind-the-scenes access you won't get anywhere else. Follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube. Make sure you don't miss a thing.
The Canadian curling trials. The thing we cried for, fought for, thrown 1,000 rocks for. The podium, just out of reach. But we can almost taste the gold medals in our teeth. Defiant, we take down giants with nothing but the stones in our hands. And in the stands, they wait and see who among us will earn the right to wear the maple leaf.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. ICAST Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
When I came onto the team, I said, good job, boys. Earning that Brier spot and earning that trial spot. I guess I got to thank Brendan Botcher for that too, a little bit, maybe a lot. But yeah, never before have I walked into a team that was automatically in the Brier and in the trials. So it's a different feeling for sure. I think that for me, it definitely made me want to work even harder though. And I think it just takes a little bit of that pressure off, knowing that those spots are already there. You're walking into a veteran team with a lot of great systems in place. You know, the guys they've been nothing but welcoming for me, and I've been curious. I've been asking a lot of questions on how they do things and trying to, you know, apply my own little flavor to things. And I think we've just really worked well and collaborated well together.
Everything I've worked for, everything I've sacrificed, has led to this. It's out of your hands now. All the gold medals in the world can't help you now. You can throw the perfect rock and still miss, but it just takes one. You leave it all out there on the ice to leave behind a legacy.
Big three on the board for Nova Scotia in the fourth. They go up 5-1 and really open this thing up. Dustin, what do you think the difference was there in the first half?
I think the key for Nova Scotia and having a strong start to this game was their draw weight and getting their rocks in good positions early on in the game. And that's really made the difference here and put a lot of pressure on Alberta's back end.
I would have said the same thing, just getting that draw weight dialed in and leaving your rocks in good spots. We saw a couple of those freeze attempts go a little bit wide and heavy, a couple of them come up short. You really have a window of a couple of feet that you can make it good enough, but outside that window, they can kind of come back to bite you.
Yeah, so not quite the start that Nova Scotia was looking to this end, but it'll be interesting to see if they keep the pressure on and continue with lots of draws in play, or if they'll start to peel things with a 4-point lead. That's the one thing with the 5-rock rule. Sometimes you see that teams just continue to apply the pressure, and if things are working for them, they don't change.
Yeah, when you're up by 4, even though it is only the fifth end, if you hog the guard, it's honestly not the worst thing, because the last thing you want is too many rocks up front that can help your opposition generate a bigger end. So they're not distraught over that hogged rock, but this one is closer to what they like. Top of the 4-foot, try to bring the play into the house. Alberta opting to ignore it and throw that second corner guard.
Yes, it's always interesting to see what teams do depending on how many points they're down, and a lot of teams even now are sometimes even leaning away from throwing 2 double corners, where they find that they might not be able to use both, or it blocks another draw path, so they'll sometimes even only throw a single corner guard. But with being down 4, definitely still a great call, and trying to get some rocks in play and eventually use those corner guards later on in the end.
Yeah, this one is not decided yet. There's still half a game to play, and a deuce or a 3 and maybe a steal could bring it right back to even before long. So a lot of game left.
In this afternoon's male semifinal between Quebec and Ontario, we saw a fairly difficult shot in 5 to not give up a steal at 2, and that would have brought Quebec right back into it. So a key end here, and a 2 or 3 back on the scoreboard would tighten things right back up.
Okay, back line. Back line. You got it. Right up.
Molly Whitbread here trying to thread the needle and play a little hit and roll off that button rock.
Yes, yes, hard, 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 guys, hard, yes, hard, Julia, hard.
Sneaks it by and actually gets a little roll, a little bit towards the center line the hard way.
Nice shot.
Great sweep there to hold that one straight.
12-5.
Yeah, I like removing that rock from play. You have a couple guards still to work with, and don't need to clutter it up too much, and want to make sure you have enough scoring room to score multiple.
12. Lean. 12. 12-5. Yep. Oh.
12-5, probably just about a hack weight.
Forward step.
Hack board maybe. Running definitely straighter than the one we just saw. However, contact is made. The roll goes behind the corner. Alberta opting to go to the other side using the higher, slightly wider corner.
So Brian, if you're Team Alberta, what do you think Glenn chatted about with his team during the 4th end break?
I would have stressed that there's still a lot of time left. You don't have to panic. Just go out, try to score your deuce, and just really focus on making the easy shots. You know, put your rocks in good places, and then one of my favorite cliches, if you make all your easy shots, you don't have to throw too many hard ones.
Right, 100%. Yeah, and they threw the double corners. Would you ever consider throwing like 3 corners, the triple corners, or do you think 2's enough?
I think 2's enough. I think the triple is a little bit extra aggressive at this stage of the game. You don't necessarily have to go crazy when you got 4 ends left to go with hammer.
Yes, I agree with you, Brian. I think 2 corners is good.
You're just trying to get at least 2 here, so you don't have to go wild.
I agree.
Yeah, that angle's good for us, right? I think we just peel that guard. Let's eliminate that one for now. And if they do happen to come around, we've got some
Here we
stuff
see Coach Kevin Ouellette, High Performance Director with Nova Scotia Curling, and get a chance to work with Kevin some as we work quite collaboratively with all 14 provincial territorial member associations. And Kevin Ouellette runs a terrific high-performance program out there in Nova Scotia, and working with his U-18 and U-20 teams, and a lot of strong teams from the province of Nova Scotia.
Well, you saw them win the juniors last year. They've got 2 teams in the final here. They're clearly doing something right. Slight switch in gear here from the Alberta squad. Now trying to take advantage of those center guards. Line is pretty good. Now they just have to let it work over, maybe finish a little bit. right to the side of the button, a little bit back, and totally buried. No, maybe sticking out a millimeter.
A little bit deep, but nice shot there from Alberta. It's definitely a scoreboard call here coming. Open it up. Ryan, did you ever consider just freezing one on if you're Nova Scotia, or do you think the peel is always the call here?
I think based on what you just said about being a scoreboard call, that's your answer. The freeze is great if you're trying to steal here or if you want to mix it up a little bit, but you don't have to when you're up 4, and all you're trying to do is make sure that they don't generate a big end. And by removing some of the guards, that's going to be a little more difficult for Alberta to manufacture now. Some teams prefer the defense by offense strategy. So if we've got a lead, we're just going to keep the pedal down and try to steal. But that does have a tendency to backfire if you lack execution sometimes.
I like this call to bite the forefoot and draw around. I think my only concern would be is lining them up and making the run a bit easier, but
Line's looking pretty good. Just trying to cover at least half. You don't, like you said, you don't necessarily want to line them up perfectly because that'll actually make the run double easier.
Very nice shot there, though. Puts it on the mark. It's great rock positioning.
Just get both and then leave that. Do you think intern or intern?
Yeah, sets up the run. That's why I was wondering maybe if you ever play an intern freeze onto the reds on the side, or thought that might be a shot to consider, but
yeah,
this is also very difficult. So
I thought about the intern freeze, and then it goes back to our other question of what if you do that and Nova Scotia switches gears and just locks one on the button.
Right, exactly.
So the shot that was just thrown is in a really good spot to take away the draw. There is potentially this run double or triple, however you want to call it, but it would be a heck of a shot, and you would probably leave your shooter right there in the way, so there would still be a center guard to play with.
Big shot here from Cassidy Blades. Skip for Team Nova Scotia.
She's close.
Ooh, and doesn't quite move it far enough, so that'll still be, it looks like, yellow sitting 2.
That was really, really close to perfect and still got nothing for it.
Okay. I'm just double checking. So what are we thinking here? Yeah, I don't think you need to even go back.
Should we ever be like even? No, because it leaves the cross. Oh, but the cross streams. If we're here, they always have that.
I'm kind of seeing
like
just, yeah, because they can see half of that, so kind of set it up so that it's really hard double, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm seeing just top button with the intern, let's get half under. It's pretty good.
15.
Okay.
Yeah. Is that the ice you gave me? Yeah. Okay.
So Coach Glenn Kennedy suggesting the intern draw. It's kind of the side of the button where any double attempt on the rock in the top 4 would just park or stuff on that the one that's about to be thrown. So a good rock here can really set themselves up for potentially a score of 3. Nova Scotia is going to have to do something pretty special not to give up a few.
Yes, this end has been going in Alberta's favor, and a well-placed shot here would go a long way to putting a 2 or 3 up on the board. So a big shot coming here from the Alberta skip.
Line's good. Full team.
Line is not the issue, but the sweepers are on it right away.
Rock's hanging. Line looks close.
Line's starting to get better. Walking right over.
Like to get a piece of the forefoot.
Leave it right there.
And that is a great curling shot from Alberta. Great team shot, great sweep, good line call.
Really well done. Tough to get the double. I think if you hit where she's holding the broom right now, you have to hit as much as humanly possible to get both yellows to go.
Yeah, it looks like you have, we're right behind this sheet, it looks like you have maybe even slightly more than half a rock. Never see a good shot of it.
Well, it's more than enough to make it, but it is very precise. And if you ever get an inch wide and just stuff it, there will be a pretty easy shot for three. Would have loved if Alberta left that, the one they just threw, just 6 inches higher, exactly next to the other one, and there would be really no chance at a double.
And an update from the male gold medal game. It was 1 point for Nova Scotia. So after the fifth end, they're up 6-1 over Team Ontario and Tyler McTavish. So they'll look to get a few multiple points in the next few ends. Try and get back in it.
That Ontario team has looked pretty solid all week, but doesn't seem to be their day. So Nova Scotia calling 12, so it's about just a good hack weight, hack board, trying to get to as close to the nose to that of that yellow as possible. Gonna have to flirt with that center guard a little bit.
Degree of difficulty on this shot is definitely higher than we've seen so far this game on Nova Scotia. So last rock for Nova Scotia skip, Cassidy Blades. Sweepers are on this one early.
That guard is going to get in the way. Just like that, 3 in hand already. Draw, the same draw she just threw for a potential 4 points, and that would tie things up. Abby just taking a second to confirm the weight that she wants to throw. Sometimes you get a break like that and you get so excited you rush down and you just fire away without really thinking too much about it. But I like that she's taking her second to go through her routine, you know, check the notes and try to throw the right weight here.
Yes, she did just make a clutch draw on her first this end, so does know this path and will have a good idea of the speed and line. Sweepers are just cleaning it.
Line is okay. Just need to get it to the forefoot. I'd say this is okay. That is going to be 4 on the board for Alberta. What a good end they put together there. That ties things up at 5. And who saw that one coming right out of the gate? So we still got 3 ends to go in a tie game. We'll be back after this.
Canadian curling trials. The thing we cried for, fought for, thrown 1,000 rocks for. The podium, just out of reach. But we can almost taste the gold medals in our teeth. Defiant, we take down giants with nothing but the stones in our hands. And in the stands, they wait and see Who among us will earn the right to wear the maple leaf?
From cash spiels to Grand Slams, club competitions to world championships, there's a lot to keep up with on the pebbled ice. Stay up to date with the Hardline Curling Show, your weekly source for everything curling, with the latest event results, breaking news, interviews with players, executives, and insiders, plus behind-the-scenes access you won't get anywhere else. Follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube. Make sure you don't miss a thing.
Just like that, this thing is tied up. A big 4 on the board for Alberta. And we thought this thing was getting a little lopsided, and all of a sudden it's evened right up.
Yeah, big end there from Team Alberta. Lots of well-executed draw shots.
That goes back to what we were talking about at the break. To get your rocks in the good spots, get your angles set up, and if you can avoid putting them in a bad spot, then you can really get an end going together. One big miss from Cassie Blades, wrecking on the guard there, but even so, had she made that shot, there still would have been probably an easy one, a makeable shot for 3. First rock from Alberta slides in. I think that was supposed to be a guard. And a flash from Lily Mitchell. So Alberta's going to try to guard their guard.
Brian, I asked you after the last end, what would have Glenn Kennedy said to his team? What would you have said to your team if you were in Kevin Ouellette's shoes?
Well, just after the break there, in a final against a good team, you have to expect to go the distance. So as much as nice it is to run up the score and shake early, you have to expect that you're going to play 8 ends and sometimes 9 in these sorts of games. All that being said, you're in a tie game. You got hammer in the even ends with 3 to go. You're in good shape. So don't panic. Just try to get your deuce here. Try to score here and just see this one to the finish line. It is somewhat difficult, especially for these young hurlers to kind of deal with that. It's almost like you get the wind knocked out of you when the team puts up a 4 and takes away your lead. But trying to refocus and resettle on the things that matter, and executing the next shot and really sticking to it. Like I said, you're still in pretty good shape. Tie game in the hammer in the evens.
Absolutely, Brian. I think now Alberta can take a bit of a breather, and game is now tied, and just keep doing what they're doing too. And yeah, both teams are playing well, so we'll have an exciting finish here for sure, and can definitely feel the energy and excitement upstairs here at the Nutana Curling Club as it's gotten close, and yeah, sure to be an exciting finish.
Interesting end right off the bat with the miss from Nova Scotia early on. They seemed like they would have been content to hit this one out and maybe try to blank it. But now that there's some rocks in play, they're shifting gears into offensive mode. Great sweep there from the Nova Scotia Brushers. Lily Mitchell all the way leaning on that one just to sneak it by right to the top of the button.
Excellent shot there from Anna McNutt, second for Team Nova Scotia. Putting it on the mark.
draw attempt from Alberta comes up well light, and that's going to cause a bit of difficulty getting at that button rock if that's something they intend to do.
Line's close. Oh, 4 line's good. Line's good. Hard step. Yep. Yep. Hard.
This one is not going to make it either. That's a few times on that intern side we've seen it come up short. I'm wondering if that side of the sheet's just a little bit different on, as far as the paths are, maybe a little bit slower.
Yeah, a couple ends ago they played it a little bit, but yeah, I'm not sure if it's getting a bit slower out there or just straight light. There's quite a bit of curl here though, so opportunity for Alberta to sink a good one and maybe even get shot stone.
Ollies. Stay down. Ollies.
Julia Kennedy just trying to hook one in here.
Line's good. Straight. Actually, oh, line's good. Straight. Yep. Yep. Yes. Yep. Yes. Yep. Okay, Molly. Molly. Mollies.
Pass the guard, now you can just work it over, try to get a good chunk of that forefoot,
Hard. You got it. Yes. Go, 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 go.
maybe even a piece of the button.
Go, go, go. Get shot. Get shot. Go, 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 go.
That's a great shot.
Very nice sweep. And what do we think, Brian? Any guesses who it might be?
At a glance, I think that might be yellow.
I would agree.
11-5.
What a shot there.
It was a great sweep, good team shot.
Stephanie Atherton looking for a little run back here. If she can get up to the nose of this red, she's close, I think. Really well done.
Very nice shot.
That's a big turnaround too after a great shot from Alberta to say no, you don't. You don't get to be shot. Now we're sitting 2. We'll have a coach's interaction here. Glenn Kennedy.
I'm just wondering if we can see enough to just slam it right on the nose. The red one right on the nose. Is that buried a bit?
It's edge. It's
Edge on
buried
edge?
like a millimeter.
Because we can nose too. You like nosing?
Yes.
You could even throw normal. You know, like on the nose.
Looking to
get
nose
rid of
the
that tree rock, right? And
red.
then it's our yellow color that we can do it again.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I'm just thinking like you could even throw controller normal at it just to get that little, but I think normal's the call right on the nose, yeah. Just a hair cross nose.
Do you like this?
I hate to say, I don't necessarily agree with Glenn Kennedy on this call.
Okay.
Yeah, they might be able to just get to nose, but
It is buried, over buried by a little bit. You have to get absolutely all of it to send it straight back. And if you miss by, just an inch high, you leave your shooter there, you get nothing on the run back, and you haven't really improved your situation all that much. It's got a curl. It's coming up a bit. Yeah, I liked the other call of just trying to get more rocks moving and open it up a bit more.
yes, I agree with you, Brian. I think maybe a double peel. Even if you double peel the yellows, you might even set up a little run back there on your yellow for one of your next 2. So see Stephanie Atherton look to replace the guard. It did open it up, so precision guard placement here now is the key. Otherwise, there will be a double.
Yep. Hard, Anna. Okay,
So now we're already to Skips Rocks here, and there's no good way to get at those two reds.
Yeah, I think we try it. I think so too. I think we throw 10 roll. The only thing is, yeah, a 9 would make it less. If you're tight to that middle one, you're making it. Yeah. Yeah. I like it. Do we like a 9 to the curl out, or do you like a 10? I like a 10. Okay. Because you want to try to stick through. I still think like here, not curl. Okay. Oh, can I throw like a 9-6? 9-5? Yeah. Okay. Sure.
Looks like they're thinking about going between those two reds, but I don't know that there's a hole there.
You might be able to get one if you just sneak by.
Oh, Julia, it's like completely buried. But we can try with board. Do we throw hack?
I agree. I think
Just hack, move them far enough. Board? Yeah.
I like hack. I think if you hit half a rock, even if you sit second shot, and it'd make it actually pretty difficult to set up two. So
Yeah, I just don't think that you may be able to get through that hole, but with hack weight, you might still over curl once you're through.
if you do get through the hole, it's long guard. That's really close. That's close. It's really close.
Wow.
Wow.
What a shot.
And that is a pistol. Very nice shot there from Team Alberta.
I did not think that was there, and she made a liar out of me. Wow, what a great shot. Doesn't
called and made. Wow, great shot.
Didn't stick around for shot, but that is really not the important part of that. Really now makes it difficult for Nova Scotia to get a second shot in there. I like being proved wrong in those situations because it's exciting, but man, that was precise.
Yeah, the degree of difficulty in that shot was extremely high. Love the weight choice there. Needed to throw that weight to get enough curl through the port.
There's been some absolutely great shot making in this end. Trying to get this inside the yellow.
That was a great
and
sweep.
Wow, another great shot. This is a heavyweight tilt here, just
exceptional shot making from both teams.
Out slugging each other here.
And that will be the final on the male division, and it will be a big win for Team Nova Scotia, and they will take a 7-1 victory over Team Ontario and Team McTavish, and some very excited U-18 curlers from Nova Scotia, and big congratulations to them.
Yeah, so Zach Atherton has locked up his championship. Now let's see if his sister Stephanie can follow suit.
So out of the Halifax Curling Club and Chester Curling Club with Coach Joel Kratz, lead Jed Freeman, Tyler McMullen, third Alan Fawcett, and skip Zach Atherton are your 2025 Canadian Under-18 Curling Champions. Congratulations.
Sounds like Alberta settled on a little tap here, trying to basically tap freeze. Just move that yellow up a foot and a little bit on the angle. And if made well, this could really set up a difficult shot for Nova Scotia.
Yes, line. Yep. Whoa. Wait, where? Where? Whoa, then. Whoa.
They'd like to hit just a half of this rock or less. And here it goes sideways. It's curling a lot.
Hard. Stay on it. Hard.
I think that was just a little bit light for the attempt. And Nova Scotia now sitting 2 for sure. And gonna have to play a wide draw for 3, but it's certainly there.
Good line on that last shot, just a few feet light maybe. And definitely windows back open for a big score from Alberta to put 3 on the board.
Really? So you think it's quicker on this side? Okay. Yeah, maybe 15-6. Okay. Yeah. Okay. It's gotta be full 4.
Cassie Blades with her last shot in the 6th. Look at her rebound after giving up 4. Can she take 3 right back?
Anna, line's good, all you. Anna to T, line's. Yep, Anna. Yep, hard, Anna, hard.
Starting to curl. Line looks okay. She needs a piece of the forefoot.
Hard. Yep. Hard.
A little bit more. Looks like it's good enough. 3 on the board for Nova Scotia. So they bounce right back, take a 3-point lead. We'll have the 7th end after this short break.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Everything I've worked for, everything I've sacrificed, has led to this. It's out of your hands now. All the gold medals in the world can't help you now. You can throw the perfect rock and still miss, but it just takes one. You leave it all out there on the ice to leave behind a legacy.
So many good shots made in that 6th end, but it was Nova Scotia making the bulk of them, and they put 3 back up on the board and take control back in this game. Leading 8-5 with 2 ends to play. Alberta was able to generate 4 last time they had the hammer, and they're going to be hoping they can repeat that.
Nice corner guard there from Alberta to kick things off.
Line's good. All 4, line's good. Hey, Anna's. All 4. All 4. Knife. Yep. Right back. Yep.
So we also also have some bronze medal matchups here for the teams that have lost the semifinals. On sheet D, we've got Alberta and Quebec 2. Alberta leading that one 5-4. And the women's bronze medal game is tied 3-3, and they're playing the 7th, and that's between British Columbia and Ontario. So we'll keep you updated on those as it has podium implications. So different strategy here. Now we see the stacked corner guards. Do you have a preference of stacking them or splitting them?
I like the stack, Brian. I think it makes the double peel a little bit tougher. And I think the other key is it keeps open maybe one side for a draw path later in the end if you need it. Or sometimes when you throw those corners on both sides, you might risk blocking one of your draw paths.
This is where that 5-rock free guard zone really starts to grind on the team with the lead, because they would have loved to start peeling and not get any rocks in play. But now there are 5 rocks that need dealing with. And Alberta actually going to take on the short double and try to leave their guard there. So there's that triple guard that we were talking about earlier.
That is a good shot from Team Alberta. Would have liked that to roll maybe a bit less, but
yeah, I think they wanted this to come up another inch. You'd probably get at least a piece of that second red, but you also wouldn't roll quite so far. Maybe just a hair more weight than they called. I think they wanted 10-5, and it was closer to 9-5 or a 10. So the hit is made. The roll goes a bit wide. Tough to say whether that one's in or not, but I don't think it's going to matter. This call would not be different one way or the other. Once again, trying to play the hit and roll behind those stacked yellows.
Supers are on this. They got to go.
That one definitely had a little less weight than the previous one, and that over-curled with the other one under-curled. So just trying to find the right broom and the right weight is a bit of a challenge at the moment. Strategy for Nova Scotia, pretty simple at this point. Just keep making those yellows disappear.
Make them go away, for sure. Brian, when do you maybe ignore playing the hit and roll and just draw one around?
I might be tempted to do it on this one, but certainly the next. They're still playing the hit and roll, but I feel like that draw is a lot easier to make precisely, and hit and roll is great if you make it perfectly, but as we were saying earlier in the game, the rolls have been really tough to perfect. this one stick around? It does not look like it. Out the back, and Nova Scotia opting to choke off the draw instead of peel the guards. I like it. The book might say that this is the wrong call. The guards are really the rocks that are going to hurt you here, but if this is made well, it can be just as good as render those guards pretty useless.
Super's not on this one at all. Want this one to stay above the tee line.
And it's not curling much either. It won't really get to those guards. So now 2 rocks in the back of the forefoot. That is not a great spot for that shot.
Do you want to play this right now? I think so. Yeah, puppy. Keen, hey?
Alberta opting to play the come around the guards now, which, again, I like. Unlikely that Nova Scotia is going to peel their own 2 out of the back of the forefoot. So you're always going to have that little pocket.
Stay close. Yes, line. Yes. Yeah, line. Line's good. Yes. Hard.
15-5 on this.
That should be pretty close. Line's great. Really well done there. Looks
excellent shot.
Almost totally buried.
Maybe showing a piece.
I think middle. Okay, you got it, Cass.
Just playing the freeze, Brian.
Top 4. Full top 4.
Yeah, I don't think it's worth it to try to chase at this point.
14-6, but I got
If you can get another red in there, that's just one more that Alberta will have to negotiate if they're trying to score 2 or 3 here.
Yeah, 15-4 maybe.
Okay, there you see a good angle. You can see a piece of it. So a freeze or a little tap on that yellow should be good enough to kind of close off that scoring area, make it a little tighter. This one has a long way to curl and looks like it's sliding pretty well. Might be throwing another one onto the pile here at the back of the forefoot. Or again, not an ideal spot for that stone to end up, and now there's a pile back there for Alberta to play with.
Yeah, so what are we thinking? There's a few options,
This is just the thin half. Have we ever just played, does that jam on this one or no?
Yeah, my thought was I think you either tap it half a rock and sit right on front of it, or we play the little hit and roll in front of that red one's pretty good too, right? No. If you make that roll, it's just maybe taking that. It's pretty much going through the hole. You don't have to worry about that.
Okay.
So it's whatever you're thinking. Like we can either tap it a foot, which is pretty good, or we make that little hit and flop.
I kind of like.
Even just with like hack or board or whatever you're seeing.
What do you guys like? What do you like? What do you want to do? I don't. What is like better for us? So what do you like? Should we throw this? Yeah, let's do that. Okay, let's just do board then. Yeah.
So the options were just a tap to move the reds back a little bit and sit in front, or throw a little bit more weight, try to hit and roll in front of the other red.
Thank you.
Do you have a preference?
I like the little tap, truthfully. I think makes it a bit tougher to remove.
Me too. If you could ever just hit the red on the nose, kind of spill those 2 reds and sit right on the button with a wall behind you, it'll be very difficult to remove without losing your shooter. You'd have to throw it hard and on an angle. they're opting to throw a little bit more weight, and certainly a good option there if you as long as you stick around. It looks like they can go the other way on this, maybe. Well, not bad, but could have been better.
Yeah, I would have considered maybe throwing a little bit less weight, make sure. I think that rock potentially is your friend actually a bit, so I would have maybe just tapped it back a hair.
You got it, Cass. 10-5, just nose. It'll leave them a
Could have called the audible there and kept the brooms down to try to hold it straight. Maybe nudge the other red on the way by and at least sit two. Could have rolled over to the other red that's kind of resting underneath Stephanie there. However, not a gimme here. You have to be pretty precise to get it through the hole. This is Cassidy's last rock of the 7th. One more to come.
Curling.
This is curling a lot. They're holding it straight, though.
That was a very good sweep. That looked like it was might over curl, and great sweeping from the front end on Team Nova Scotia.
Yeah, I thought that was gone, and they held it. Halfway down, it looked like it was curling a ton, and they just had the brooms down and straightened it out. And now there is a shot for two, but it's a tough one. Got it.
Yeah, you got to be conscious of the jam scenario. So
you got a little bit across the nose to make the double. Nose probably does it if you throw it hard enough, but you got to be a little bit easier if you get past it. And you can't go too far across the nose, or else you're going to nudge your yellow sideways.
Throwing a 10-5 here.
Last rock of this 7th, and coming up, looking for a slightly off-nose double. Abby Desamoro on it right out of her hand, sweeping hard, trying to hold the line. Looks like it's good enough for one. So Alberta puts one on the board, but they will trail by 2 without Hammer. Coming back in the 8th right after this.
Everything I've worked for, everything I've sacrificed, has led to this. It's out of your hands now. All the gold medals in the world can't help you now. You can throw the perfect rock and still miss, but it just takes one. You leave it all out there on the ice to leave behind a legacy.
The Canadian curling trials. The thing we cried for, fought for, thrown 1,000 rocks for. The podium, just out of reach. But we can almost taste the gold medals in our teeth. Defiant, we take down giants. With nothing but the stones in our hands. And in the stands, they wait and see who among us will earn the right to wear the maple leaf.
Nova Scotia in not full control, but pretty good shape in this one. Up 2 with hammer coming home. Alberta is going to have to pull off a magic trick here and get that steel train rolling.
13.
Haven't seen a lot of this week. Haven't been a whole lot of occasions to throw the tick, but considering that rock is not on the center line, this is fair game.
Yes, important to get your rocks on the center line, and this one not, so tick opportunity.
Hits it a little too thick. That one will go back. Neither team really in trouble for time. Nova Scotia definitely has a lot more. They've got more than 11 minutes left, where Alberta is down to about 5 minutes and 45 seconds of thinking time. Lots of time to play the end, but Nova Scotia will have a little more time to deliberate if necessary.
Didn't quite touch center, but lined them up, which is good.
This time we're not trying the tick, just trying to play the straight come around. I don't mind this. If you happen to miss the tick again and now that rock gets replaced, your red disappears. It's a really good opportunity to Alberta to get themselves set up. So 100%. Play something a little more reliable, just that simple come around.
Yeah, if you're Team Alberta, you want them to throw against the loss. So I think you're trying to get them to throw against 3. Difficult to do for sure, but 2 guards to start, which is great.
And now a rock on the 4-foot. Alberta can make a freeze here and game on. Back 8 or back 12, unfortunately. A little more weight than they would have liked. However, will stick around and it will be mostly buried. So now Nova Scotia has a choice to make. And that didn't take very long. Straight up, peel the guards. They do not want anything in the way.
I was looking for the freeze there, but actually not too bad of a shot, knowing up to with. Nova Scotia is likely to peel, so able to wrap one around. And you see that shot quite often, and it's actually a pretty hard shot to make, going right around it all. So
peel called and made. You see that guard probably go back up once or twice more, and then play will probably move into the house. Our bronze medal game on the male side is over. I believe Quebec stole the 8th end to win 6-5. And that is, in fact, the case. So Quebec 2 has claimed the bronze medal. Alberta would have liked a little more space between those 2 yellows. This is as close to a gimme double peel as you can get. Anything a sliver on the high side with a good amount of weight will make all of these go pretty easily.
Nice shot.
Just like that.
Yes, great shot there from Anna McNutt.
Nova Scotia doing what they need to do, keep this clean and not allow Alberta a chance to get anything going here.
Hey, lots of room. Okay, then freeze it if we're up. Okay, freeze it then. Okay, go to curl. Just stay. Go to curl. Curl. Only if you can. We can't bounce. Can't bounce. Okay, yep. Hard curl. Oh, no bounce though. No bounce.
Alberta looking to freeze here. Just to kind of be 7-8 high side, frozen. Nice shot there.
That really well done. Stephanie Atherton will take on the removal. Probably going to take the red with it. They don't mind losing that one. And it goes, but also leaves the shooter there, so Alberta will attempt the freeze and just try to make it a little bit better this time.
Wait, do we do another guard? Sure.
What are your thoughts, Brian? Do you like the guard, or would you be looking to freeze here?
I don't mind the guard, but if you're going to do it now, I wonder why you didn't do it last shot.
Right, yes.
Hard, guys, as far as it goes, yep. Hard, Sav. Hard, guys, get it over, yep, hard. All the
I
way.
think the guard's the call, because if you ever just line up that freeze just wrong, you can lose your back yellow too, and your chance for that second point is probably gone, and that might be the ball game.
Right.
So Stephanie Atherton just straight peel on the guard.
Yep. Hard and a hard. Hard, you gotta go hard and a hard. Hard and a hard. Hard roll, Lily. Roll it. Hard roll.
And that'll be good enough.
Does the job, absolutely.
Are you guys just thinking freezing?
Do you think we guard this?
Yeah.
And then freeze on your last
the only other thought here to use kind of as a shot is we got lots of time. Is you can still use that red as a guard, right? So if we get to the inside of our yellow, we risk them blasting it, but the hope is that if she's ever a hair tight, then at least she's looking at 3, right?
Okay.
So I think like a dead freeze on yellow is an option, right? Dead freeze on yellow on the nose as one option.
Okay.
Or I think we have to corner freeze the red. But I like our chances if we can just get an inch under that red one, right?
I like that. So like here?
Makes her have to make a big shot,
Okay.
right? And then if we get a break, then at least she's looking at 3 across.
Okay.
Right?
So here? Yes.
Just dead freeze on the nose.
Brian, I mentioned that at the start of the end. Goal is to sit 3 at the end. And I think Glenn kind of mentioned the same thing to his team, and freeze one on the back. And if you happen to be a few feet light and you freeze to the red, that also works. But I think looping one half buried behind that red is the shot here.
Yeah, I like the half bury more than the freeze. I just don't like getting those yellows too close together and making it automatic.
Me too.
So something like right on the button, kind of half tucked, would be really good.
Can I have a little, actually that's fun. A 4? Line's a little tight. Volley's roll there, guys. Where? Yes, line. Yes, line. Whoa, yes. Room. Whoa. What's your room?
A little bit heavy here. You want to bounce those and make a little bit of room, and looks like a very makeable double. Cassidy Blades could end it here if she can make both yellows go. Looks like she's playing the intern off the center.
Yeah.
So going to hit the one on the right first as we're looking at it now. Curling off the line quite a bit. Just going to come up to the nose. Roll maybe just far enough. That yellow should be second shot, I think.
Yes. Red is second, it looks, from...
Second. Are you sure? I'm pretty sure. 100%? Yeah.
From our overheads, it looks like it's...
Yes.
Second shot
Yeah.
is yellow.
Yeah. Okay, so play this. Yeah. It's like an 11. Yeah.
They seem to agree that yellow is second shot, so no need to take on the double. Just a little hit and roll off the top forefoot. You almost want to stay as close to that as you can. Don't want to roll too far and expose the back one either.
11. This one is too tight. You didn't get hairless? Okay.
Just looking for an 11, like a good firm board weight. That's really good, about the best you could do.
Shot.
So, Cassidy Blades just needs to make one yellow go away, and she is a national champion. Broom right on the rock. Calling for a 10, which I'd be throwing this one a little bit harder. But she knows what she's doing, so. Last rock of the 8th. National championship on the line. Cassidy Blades looking to get rid of one yellow. Nice, easy throw. Just clean, and this will do it. Yellow leaves out the side door. Nova Scotia wins. 1 point on the board for Alberta, but 8-7 final. Nova Scotia skipped by Cassidy Blades with Stephanie Atherton, Anna McNutt, and Lily Mitchell. Coach Kevin Ouellette out of the Halifax Curling Club, under 18 Canadian champions. Congratulations. And also congratulations to Alberta, 2 silver medalists. Bronze medal game still going on. Last shot coming down. We're not going to have time to tell you about that. So, thanks for joining us all week on Curling Canada YouTube. Thanks to IKS Sports for the great production. And thanks to the Nutana Curling Club for putting on such a great show. I'm Brian Chick here with Dustin McCush, and we will see you next time. Have a good night.